Hey everybody, it's Ann Kaplan from Mommy, your mama resource from conception to college, wherever you are in your momming journey. We are here for you. And the theme in this group this whole week has been attention, and especially dealing with kids and parenting kids in the best way we possibly can when they struggle with attention challenges, whether it's ADD, ADHD, whatever it is. How can we actually shift our thinking about our role as parents and how we relate to our kids when they're struggling with this stuff, so that we actually can be something that's actually empowering them and making a shift in their lives. And so what I want to do today, it's Thursday, it's my tips and tricks day, it's my how-to day. Let's try to take all the stuff we've talked about this week and turn it into a plan and turn it into something that we can actually hit the ground running with and make it work for us. So I want to give you guys some tips today. I have my little notebook here. Some tips today on what I've seen work really well for my clients who have kids with ADD and ADHD to really kind of make some movement and get some change in what's going on in their family. So the first tips that I have for you are really things that I've talked about already this week, which is accepting your kid for who he is, accepting the circumstance that your child is in and that you are in. You are in the circumstance of having a child with this challenge, and your child is in the circumstance of being a person who has this challenge. And that is okay. When we are parenting our children, and this doesn't just have to do with attention stuff, our biggest challenge sometimes is that we really want to change what is. We don't want our kids to have allergies. We don't want our kids to have attention problems. We don't want our kids to get bullied on the playground. We don't want our kids to struggle in math. We don't want our kids to have the problems they do, but sometimes they do. And the worst thing we can do as parents is to fight against what is actually just a fact. It's just a fact. So accepting that fact is going to actually empower you so much more to do something about it than spending your time trying to change what is. So acceptance is the first key. It's the first key in everything, and this is no exception to that. And then once you have accepted that, once you really, really have accepted this is who my child is, just the same as my child has brown hair or is this height or whatever, my child has this characteristic also, then you can actually start to see your kid for who he is or who she is. So I don't want you to be seeing your child as having this lack, oh, they have this problem, they can't do it. And when you're doing that, one of the things that I say all the time to my clients, and Rochelle just joined this video, and I'm sure she's heard me say this a million times, but this is a perfect example of when this comes into play. It's not about you. That is the message I'm giving to my clients all the time. And you're probably having a defensive reaction to me saying that right now, which is like, of course it's not about me. I pour my heart and soul into trying to help my child get a better situation and change their circumstance and, have better results and be successful and not struggle and all that stuff. It's all for my child. But I would challenge you, I just want to invite you in to consider the possibility that actually some of those behaviors that you're doing and some of that intention and effort that you're putting into what's going on with your child might actually be about your pain, about your feelings of sadness and frustration, and sadness for your child, and be honest, sadness for yourself too. We all struggle with that stuff. So once you're able to actually accept your child and see your child for who he or she is, you can start realizing that they don't have to be defined by this one characteristic that they have. Just like somebody who has diabetes doesn't have to be defined as I'm a diabetic and that's all I am. A person who struggles with attention stuff or doesn't fit into the natural school rubric or needs a little bit of extra techniques and life hacks to figure out how to navigate things that might seem easy to other people, that does not have to define who they are. And the more that we feel that way about our children, the more that they will feel that way too. How many times have you heard me say, quit parenting, start modeling? This is that time. If you want your child to feel free and independent and complete and outside of just this one character trait that they have, you need to model that you believe that about them too. And so every time you pick your kid up from school, Don't ask, did you have a good day or a bad day? What happened at school today? If you're getting reports from your school's teachers, get those reports away from your child. Get an email from them, talk to them when your child isn't there, because guess what? The more that you intervene and interject yourself to make sure your kid's having good days and better days than bad days and all of those things, absolutely understandable intention, but when you're doing that in front of your child, you are modeling for your child, all mommy cares about is this one part of you. It's really, really important, and if we can't fix this one part of you, nothing else about you matters. And of course, we do not want to be giving our kids that message. So that's a huge tip for you, is see your child as a complete person. See your child for who he or she really is, the complete person they really are. Celebrate that about them, and the parts about them that you know need attention from you, but might be giving messages that you don't want to be giving to your child, do those away. And do that not just for your child, but for yourself. Like, your child is a complete person. This isn't just an exercise you're doing to show your child something. It's something for you as well to start thinking about your child that way. And my third tip to you guys when it comes to parenting kids with attention stuff is, just because a behavior is understandable doesn't mean it's excusable. We totally get why things are overwhelming to kids, why kids are acting the way they're acting. We totally get it. But yet, there still are rules and norms, and those need to be enforced in a loving way. We cannot be letting our kids off the hook all of the time because of their special challenges, because that's actually doing them a huge disservice. And so another tip that's going to help you with this whole consistency, rules, boundaries, still enforcing your rules kind of thing is, set yourself up for success. If there are certain situations that you know are just really, really challenging for your kid, try to minimize those situations. If your kid does better one-on-one than they do in a big play date group, great. Use that knowledge. Just because your child is learning to navigate the world around them doesn't mean you can't kind of rig the system a little bit in their favor. But once you've set a boundary, once you've set a consequence, once your child is aware of a rule, that needs to be enforced. So set yourself up for success when you're putting yourself out in these positions where you're going to have to enforce these rules. Set your child up for success. Put your child in a position where you know that they are capable of following these rules, of understanding these consequences, of behaving in the way that you want them to be. That doesn't mean they will, but that they're capable of it. And the biggest thing, my biggest tip for you guys when it comes to this stuff is let go of the shame. No shame for you as a mom when you lose your cool, when it's too much for you, whatever. And no shame for your kid when they lose their cool and it's too much for them or whatever. Because shame and judgment and disappointment and all that stuff, all that does is complicate things and make it so much harder. It does not serve a parenting relationship in any circumstance, and this specific circumstance is no exception. So I hope that's helpful for you guys today. It might surprise you or it might not surprise you that a lot of my tips for you guys in parenting kids with attention challenges are pretty much the same as what I would tell you regardless of what kind of child you're parenting, because my personal opinion, based on my own parenting experience and my professional experience helping parents with kids who struggle with attention things, is the biggest challenge these kids have is that the world sees them as lesser and incapable and those kinds of things. So the more that we can actually set our kids up for success and give them the message to themselves and to us that they're capable of doing these things and they have so much to celebrate about themselves, and their situation in life is not a disadvantage. It's not a lack. The better we are as parents and the more help and support and empowerment we're giving our kids. I love you guys so much. I hope this week has been hopefully helpful and eye-opening to you, and I would love to hear any thoughts and feedback you have about some of the ideas I've shared this week. Have a great week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.